What's going on, winners? It's your boy Loso 2.0, aka The Voice. And today we're getting back into the nine-figure mindset, how to go from zero to over $100 million in net worth by Brandon Dawson. Again, right? Picking back up where we were at. We're gonna be on page 27 now. Of it. All right. So I used my own wits and brashness to raise the capital I needed to launch Sonus. Then I used my smarts to get Sonus moved from the Alberta, British Columbia stock exchange to the American Stock Exchange, where I became one of the youngest people ever to ring the opening bell, according to the exchange, thereby fulfilling at least a version of an early dream I used to have as a kid growing up in Oregon. I even began expanding into Europe, where suppliers were eager to get foothold in the American hearing aid and market in addition to expand their share in Europe. So right now he's talking about his story about how he left his dad's company, started his own company, started pretty much getting locked in with that one. And I think this is very important. He said he done something that he imagined when he was a kid, right? If you want to achieve something, it goes deeper than just saying it. You got to speak it into existence. You have to do the actions that are going to take you there, but you have to really have that image in your mind. If you really build that image in your mind as strong as possible, it literally comes to fruition, because the world that we see today is just an external look of what someone thought inside, right? These are all thoughts that became reality. Continuing now. Quite the mover and shaker I was, that is, until June of 2002, my fault, when the private equity firm I had allowed to acquire controlling interest in Sonos effectively kicked me out of my own company by bringing the CEO to sell it. Well, I guess I hated him for it more than I thought, which explained why I kept cursing him and their kind during all those golf outings with Hector. I cursed them, even though looking back at that period from a greater distance of time, I can't say I blamed them one bit. I probably would have done the same thing with the CEO I've come to refer to as Brandon 1.0. Oh, you trying to steal my name? I'm just playing. No, I'm 2.0. But so what they did now is they kicked him out of his own company. Yes, that can happen if you bring on a board of people, and they can make a vote to kick you out of your own company and sell your majority share or whatever. You see, Brandon 1.0, the old me, exceeded the parameters of his charter as far as his ownership partners were concerned. They saw me working deals with manufacturers in Europe that had the potential to create a whole new offshoot of Sonos' business model. That would be great for me, but not so much for them. I rejected the sound advice of people I admired and respected who had warned me against this new business for exactly the reason that led the private equity firm to oust me before selling my baby to an international firm for far less than I thought it was worth. So they ousted him out of his company, and then they sold his company for basically on sale, right? It's kind of messed up, but hey, we're going to continue. And that's how I ended up with time on my hands and a monolithic chip on my shoulder, pulled over to the side on a knife with Hector Lamarck delivering me an ultimatum. So this is now getting back to that story where he was playing golf with his buddy, and his buddy was over here telling him to stop complaining, stop whining, stop itching or whatever, and get yourself together. What I didn't quite grasp at the time was that while Hector had delivered the ultimatum as a friend who had earned the right to be brutally honest with me, he was offering something more valuable to Brandon 1.0 than friendship. He didn't tell me right away what it was, but I learned that the thing he was offering was mentorship. So Hector was offering him not only to be his friend, but he's offering to mentor him in a different way. He was telling him to stop complaining and get yourself up. But he didn't outright just ask for it or just tell him that. He was telling him like, yo, I did it. You could do it. Stop crying. He was mentoring. People often confuse friendship and mentorship. It's easy to see why. Both involve a close relationship with which one person cares for the other. Like a good friendship, a good mentorship involves mutual respect and the willingness to learn. Like friendship, mentorship requires a great deal of trust from both sides. The mentor must trust in the mentee's earnestness in listening to what he or she has to say and applying it. The mentee must believe that the mentor has or her best interest in mind and truly wants them to succeed. So yes, comes down to trust. Like any good leader type of thing, right? You have to trust that your team is doing everything, applying everything that you're telling them. That's how you got to know you got the right people. And at the same time, your people that you're leading have to really truly believe that you have the best interest in mind for them. You're trying to help them out as much as possible. But there's a fundamental difference between a friend and a mentor that I had understood until Hector offered both to me. Mentoring is about change. It is about development. You know the old saw about friendship? A friend is someone who knows everything about you and still likes you. A mentor who knows everything about you still likes your chance of becoming something more. I like that. A friendship is, let me get some water after that one, my fault. But he said A friendship is someone who knows all of your flaws, knows everything bad about you, knows the things that you do and stuff, and still accepts you and still loves you as that person. A mentor sees so much potential in you and it's about change. And that just makes me think of like the only consistent thing in life, which is change, right? Nothing else is going to be consistent. So they love you enough, they see that potential in you. So they're trying to push you over the edge, right? In a good way. So that's the difference between a mentor and a friend, right? A mentor is someone who will allow you to develop. It will be hard to come with a relationship, save marriage, or parenthood in which trust matters more than in mentorship. I've enjoyed the support and love of friends and I've learned from coaches in both sports and business, but I never thought of them as mentors because they never changed the way I thought about life or behaved toward other people. In some cases, I look for mentors, but managed not to notice them, even when they were standing right before my eyes. So you got to accept the mentorship too as well. It's not just about, it's kind of like the Bible, talks about, right? Jesus was going there. He was telling his parables. He was speaking to people, right? But that doesn't mean that they had to just accept him. They have to go and actually accept him for him to move forward in life. To move forward in life, you have to accept mentorship. You can't just someone tells you it. You could easily just blow them off, or you can literally lock in. Some people might think I'm just an independent-minded, self-reliant person, the kind of person a leader ought to be, right? Well, not really, for reasons I'll get into in a minute. The truth is, I never trusted anyone more than I trusted myself. A mentor is someone you have to trust more than yourself. You got to give up some control and take the action that a mentor recommends out of sheer faith that they have been there and know what to do. Such is the case with Hector, who was always also so damn smart that he demanded my respect anyway. Dude was smart, man. I had a lot of mentors in my life, man. Shout out to Patrick Tadros, who's one of my mentors. Shout out to Duran Highland. Shout out to Kenya Rodriguez. Shout out to Malik Ahmed. Like, these are great mentors in my life that are building me up and created me into the leader I am today, man. And being directly over me, teaching me so much things, even back to the beginning, right? Even Nia Ortiz, she taught me, a little bit about selling too as well. Like, they both helped me in so many ways. We finished our 18 holes that day. I wish I could tell you I played the lights out of the back nine, but to tell you the truth, I don't remember a thing about it. What I do remember is that afterwards, Hector invited me over his house for what will become the first mentoring session. Well, second, if you count the golf cart incident. He got a piece of paper and drew a line down the middle of the page, right? So right now he's setting him up for something, right? Now, what I want you to do is this. In the left-hand column, write down all the remarkable things you accomplished in your life so far. On the right side, write down things which, in assessment, if you had to do them over again, you would do differently. Okay, that's a nice little exercise I want you guys to do, right? Draw a line down a piece of paper, get a piece of paper, write down all the things that you accomplished in your life in the left-hand column and everything that you felt like you could have done differently in the right-hand column or in assessment, right? Okay, got it? I said on the left side, I wrote down how I raised my first $1 million and then my first $6 million to get the Sonos off the ground. I wrote down the moment when I got the ring opening bell at the American Stock Exchange, the raising my first 28 million. I included acquiring 120 businesses and negotiating global supply agreements. Then on the right side, I wrote down a considerably longer, more heavily annotated list of needs improvement items that included my lack of knowledge about finance and strategic development. So on the left side, I mean, this just makes me this right here is like, it's crazy because I can't say it makes me sick to my stomach because this actually does happen. Yo, do you ever find yourself, you achieve so much in life, like so many good things, but we continue to just complain about the things that we didn't achieve yet? And that just sucks though. It really does though, because it's like, even people who are out here, he said raised 120 his first $6 million. Some people haven't even touched 1M yet. I haven't even touched 1M yet, but he's complaining about that though, right? It's crazy though. It just reminds you of like how important it is to always show gratitude, because once you become successful, right, your thing that your highest, I was listening to Airtime's podcast and he talked about this. Your highest point in your life right now, the point that you're at right now, your lowest part is higher than what your highest was back then, right? So before, your lowest might have been you sleeping out of a car. Or me personally, like my lowest might have been sleeping out of a car, sleeping in motels with my mom, whatever. But then my highest might have been having some money to get something to eat. Now where my lowest may be, all right, having a little bit of money I get paid tomorrow, so I got a little bit of money to get something to eat. Where my highest is like taking trips to Puerto Rico, taking trips to New York, DC, Houston, traveling the world. So it's like, that's just so crazy, right? Just to think about. It's always good to sit back and show gratitude. But let's finish this last little paragraph. Then I thought about leadership. Was that a strength or weakness? Well, in all my years of working, leading others, I have formed no meaningful, trusting relationships. I managed by shoving everything down my employees' throats and telling them to get it done. I could point to very specific instances when wiser heads than mine gave me good advice than I ignored because, hey, I knew better. I was good at making money, so I didn't go to my would-be mentors and ask for the guidance. I felt I had reached a place where I could figure it all out. And that's when it comes to humility, right? You got to be humble. You have to be humble in order to be successful, right? So that's really all I had today, man. Again, the 9-figure mindset, over how to go from zero to over $100 million in net worth by Brandon Dawson, forward by John C. Maxwell. We're going to continue a little bit more of this on the next episode. I want you guys to keep killing the day. Remember, winners win, losers lose, and you pray for success like this. 2.0 out.